Man, the BS propaganda put out by the Israeli Defense Force on the Israeli Defense Force YouTube channel. This video is hilarious.
We have entered a new phase in our war against Hamas. Hamas broke the humanitarian pause when it violated the hostage release agreement by refusing to release women, children, and babies as agreed. Hamas also fired rockets at Israeli homes. It should be clear to everyone by now, Hamas chooses war. Hamas chose war when it broke the hostage release agreement on December 1st. Hamas chose war when it massacred our people on October 7th. It has been 8 weeks since October 7th and Hamas is still holding 137 of our people hostage. Babies, the elderly, women and men.
Man, the way he says babies, men, women, it's just kind of weird. Like, he was trained to say it in a certain way, elicit an emotional response. But what about all the hostages by the Israeli government? They have thousands of children, men and women, being held hostage.
Hamas does not value human life, Israeli or Palestinian. Hamas is willing to sacrifice its own people to advance its genocidal agenda.
Well, that's the same with the Israeli government and the Hannibal Directive, which allowed them to kill hostages so that the Israeli government didn't have a bargaining chip against them. The Israeli government cares very little about life as well.
As we expand our operation in Gaza, we remain committed to our goals: secure the release of our hostages and dismantle Hamas. We will operate as we have done until now.
Okay, if your only goal is just to take out Hamas, why does Bibi Netanyahu continually speak about a genocide against the Palestinians and advocate for one?
According to international law, we will operate as we have done until now against Hamas centers of gravity. We pursued them in northern Gaza. We're now pursuing Hamas in southern Gaza too.
Yeah, it's no surprise that the Israeli government started bombing northern Gaza, told everybody to go to southern Gaza, and then started bombing southern Gaza.
We will operate in maximum force against Hamas terrorists and infrastructures while minimizing harm to the civilian that Hamas places around them as shields.
Right, minimizing the civilian casualties. How do you minimize civilian casualties when the IDF is going into people's houses, shooting them dead in their house, or shooting kids in the back of the head, or attacking various shelters that were supposed to be off limits for war? Like, how can this dude truly claim that the Israeli government is minimizing civilian casualties?
Our forces used the 7-day pause before the Hamas violation to increase readiness, review intelligence, and refine operational procedures. We are implementing lessons learned.
Man, if you guys would have reviewed various plans and got yourself ready before, you probably wouldn't have had the October 7th attack because the Israeli government knew it was going on and just dismissed it.
For the new phase of this war, improving the efficiency and the precision of our operations on the ground. We're pursuing Hamas wherever Hamas is hiding, in the north and in the south. Every rocket launcher, weapons depot, command and control center, senior commander, underground infrastructure, and any hideout where our hostages may be held.
Okay, so can you explain why, like 15,000 civilians have been killed and why the Israeli government has a hostage uh, since October 7th, 9,000 more Palestinians, and a lot of them are kids that are being kidnapped by the Israeli government and being held hostage.
Our war is against Hamas, not against the people of Gaza. Hamas deliberately embeds himself within civilian population centers so that the Gazans will bear the consequences of Hamas atrocities. Every civilian death is a tragedy that the IDF does not want. And is
Okay, if the IDF does not want these civilian tragedies, again, can you explain why the Israeli government attacks UN shelters? Can you explain why the Israeli government will shoot kids in their house and deny them medical treatment? Can you explain why the Israeli government gives weapons to Israeli settlers so that they can go and kill Palestinian civilians and take their land?
taking extensive measures to avoid. While Hamas terrorists hide behind civilians, Israel does its best to distinguish between civilians and terrorists.
That is a big old lie because the Israeli government itself has, like Bibi Netanyahu and various other PM or ministers in the Israeli government has are claimed that the Palestinians, all of them, are just terrorists, and one even suggested nuking Gaza.
We are giving precise instructions to Gazan residents near Hamas centers of gravity, urging them to temporarily move away from the danger that Hamas puts them in.
Okay, but how can they do that when no matter where they go, they're still going to be bombed? Because even UN shelters get bombed by the Israeli government.
We're dropping leaflets with QR codes that opens a map guiding Gazans to safer areas.
Well, we're dropping leaflets with QR codes. What? So they should just pull out their phones that they don't have and scan the QR code, or use the electricity that they don't have because the infrastructure has been so bombed to hell that there's very little electricity, water, and stuff going through Gaza.
The map is divided into neighborhood numbers indicating where civilians in a specific area should go to avoid being in the crossfire. We call on international organizations in Gaza to assist us with this effort. It can help save lives. We also